Alright, hello. I'm going to be talking about the nitrogen cycle and how to set up a proper aquarium. So here I have a 2.5 gallon aquarium. This is just my mini desk aquarium I have. I have just a few fish in here. I have one Enlard right here. And then in the back, somewhere, they'll come out eventually, I have some chili rust spores. Now this tank is 2.5 gallons. It has a substrate layer around 2 to 2.5 inches. It is made up of Fluval biostratum, which means it is a substrate that contains nutrients in it already and beneficial bacteria. So this nutrients allows you to be able to cycle your tank faster, which is basically the nitrogen cycle in the very beginning, where ammonia turns into nitrites and nitrites turn into nitrates over time thanks to beneficial bacteria. So another important thing to look at is how many live plants we have in here. I would say this is a pretty heavily planted tank. We have lots of Monte Carlo, that's the plant down at the very bottom. We call that a carpet plant because it makes like a carpet over the floor of the tank. This big ball over here, that is Subwasa tang. All little tiny, very leafy looking plants are Dwarf Sagittaria. In the very back, we have that really scraggly looking stem plant, that is pearlweed. Right here on that rock with those really nice leaves, that is Anubias nanopetit. And then right up top, I actually have some moss growing, that is Java moss, and some Christmas moss. So just a couple things to keep in mind is when you're first setting up a tank and sorting everything out is your light and how many plants to how many fish you're going to have. So let's talk about our light here. This is a Aquarium LED light made for planted aquariums. It consists of white LEDs and blue LEDs. This provides there to be enough blue light for the plants, because plants need more than just white lights to function properly. And let's look at our nutrient levels as well and how deep our substrate is. So our substrate here is around 1.5 to 2 inches deep. This lets us get good coverage for roots, so there's lots of room for them to grow, and there's a lot of room for what's it called? So there's basically just a lot of room for beneficial bacteria to grow because it provides extra surface area for everything to grow on. Especially since the substrate is these little balls, they create little pockets between themselves for beneficial bacteria to grow on to provide a healthier ecosystem for everything to be thriving in. So this tank does have a filter, but this filter does not run very often. I run it probably for 2 weeks every month, and it's right up there. As you see, my water line does not match it at all. That's because I'm not running it, and this tank doesn't need it, as I test the water quality for this tank, and it stays very consistent thanks to having a nice deep substrate layer, and well as a very low livestock of fish. I only have 3 fish in this tank, and I only have to feed them twice a week since they also feed on macro bacteria living inside the tank. And then just lots of plants are always a really good thing to have in a tank like this. It provides oxygen as well, but one of the most important things is the smaller your tank is, the higher your ammonia levels can be concentrated as quick. So this is only 2.5 gallons. At school we're going to be running a 20-gallon tank. So we're going to have 5.5 10.5. I don't know the exact math in my head right now, but it's gonna be the same amount of ammonia in this tank to the 20-gallon tank is going to be reduced by a lot. So if this tank is at 1 ppm, which is not good, that's a deadly amount to the fish in here and the snails and shrimp. Compared to the 20-gallon, it wouldn't be at 1 at all. It might be at 0.2 per se. I should also talk about floating plants. So right up top here, that little floating plant right there, that's called frogbit, Amazon frogbit. These grow roots that go down and they try to dig themselves into the substrate for extra nutrients. But if you cut their roots so they can't get all the way down to the substrate, they will just suck nutrients out of the water column like crazy and constantly reproduce to where you're having to scoop out your floating plants maybe every 2 or 3 days because it's getting so bad and it doesn't let light into your aquarium, which can then harm your plants, and your plants could start melting, which means your leaves start basically dying off slowly, and this will cause an ammonia outbreak in your tank as well. Alright, well that's about it.